basically the J.K. Simmons J. Jonah Jameson at the end of Far From Home is a grieving father.
Venom 2: Flash Thompson is in the middle of a tug of war between Carnage and Shriek and Venom and Spider-Man.
Wait, this is all one movie?
Yes, all of life is one movie.
That's rogue. That's rogue.
Welcome back into Rockstars. I'm Filup Molina. This is Rogue Theory. Today we are talking about how Spider-Man and Venom are going to be maybe new best friends, or at least that's what the theories are going to get into. Joining us on today's episode are Erik Voss,
Yay!
Angelica Trae,
Hello!
and Marina Mastros.
Yay!
All right. Also on this episode, we're going to talk about a possible Catwoman storyline. We got Catwoman news about the new Robert Pattinson Batman movie. We'll get to that later. But first, guys, Rogue Theories. The rumor is that these two are going to come together. So how are Venom and Spider-Man going to come together? Tom Hardy specifically and the director of the Venom movie both hinted this week that Spider-Man and Venom are about to appear together in a movie. We thought this might happen before in the Sony multiverse, and we know there was some sort of agreement. So let's assume that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
What exact story is going to happen?
Okay, so my pitch is for Venom, the next Venom movie, and that the crossover happens in the next Venom movie.
Venom 2.
Yes, Venom 2, not... This is not a pitch for the next Spider-Man movie. This is a pitch for the next Venom movie. Okay, and that's where the crossover happens. So basically, Flash Thompson in Far From Home is Spider-Man's friend. He's a little bit of a bully, right? And we have like a running bit in that movie where he's texting his parents and they never really get back to him.
Yeah.
Hilariously sad.
But like he's rich, so it's fine. Like it's fine
It's
to
just typical.
Yeah, they're just working. And he's in
yeah.
Europe. He has weird hours.
The fact that his rich parents gave him their number is a big step forward for that 1%.
Yeah.
That's love.
Okay. So, they were like, finally a vacation. But so this is a running like bit through the movie is that his parents kind of are inattentive, right? So my theory is that his parents are actually scientists and they've both been working for the Life Foundation.
Ooh,
This whole
crossover
time,
alert.
right?
Bam.
Yeah, so that's the crossover or how it starts, right? So they've been working for Life Foundation, both of them. They're both like, very experienced, smart scientists, and their kids in Europe, so they're like, he'll be fine.
Reminder that the Life Foundation in Venom 1 is basically the villain of that movie that is causing all the symbiote trauma.
Yes. So his parents are working with symbiotes, and they do not get infected themselves, but they bring it home. Okay, after the Far
Like on
From
their
Home.
shoe.
Yeah, like on their it's a gum.
And their briefcase, it just crawls out of their briefcase.
Yeah. And so they bring it home by accident. This is after Far From Home happens. They bring it home by accident, and it does attach itself to Flash. So the Venom movie is Venom finds out like, oh, there's this kid, word on the street, like he's a reporter, right? So word on the street is there's this kid who's also been infected with the same thing I have. So he's like, I'm going to go help this kid.
I mean, Eddie Brock is
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to go help this kid, deal with this. And Flash is also getting convinced to essentially like, more or less join the dark side, but, different universe, by Carnage and Shriek. Because they're also going to be in this.
Shriek just announced is going to be in this movie.
Yes.
And then Carnage, Woody Harrelson, we saw in a post-credit scene for Venom.
And it's basically a tug of war. And Spider-Man shows up to help his friend Flash. Because he's a little bit of a bully, but by the end of Far From Home, they're cool, at least. And he wouldn't abandon him. So they're like, he respects Spider-Man, but he doesn't like Peter Parker.
So then you have Spider-Man and Venom teaming
Venom
up.
teaming up to being basically a tug of war. Flash is in the middle. Carnage and Shriek are over here being like, be bad, eat people. And then, Spider-Man and Venom are over here being like, no, don't eat people.
Although Venom will eat a person.
Yes,
if
he
they're,
will. But he
in the wrong place.
doesn't feel it in his heart.
He feels it in his gut. Guys,
He's just very hungry.
That certainly is worth Rogie
Yay!
for Marina, because that's very plausible. I actually feel like a lot of that could happen. What I'll also wonder right now, I'll ask you, is who wins?
I'm going to say that Carnage and Shriek win because that's how it sets up the next movie.
New quarter Rogie.
Yeah.
For you, because I'm a big fan of that. Add to the villains.
Yeah,
Make everything worse for these people. I always love that. That's my dream.
Okay. Heighten.
Angelica, make it worse.
Okay, so I'm thinking a little differently from your Venom movie theory. I'm thinking it's going to be in the next Spider-Man.
Okay.
So if we remember from Far From Home, at the end, a journalist outs Spider-Man and his identity.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yes.
Yep.
So I'm thinking maybe in the next movie, it's going to be Spider-Man 1, and it's going to be a lot of journalistic focus towards the beginning here.
Yeah.
And we're going to see Eddie Brock come out as maybe like a rogue journalist.
So this is like a intense, deep action journalism movie. Right?
Yes. It's all going to be
I'm
about
kind of
journalism,
feeling that.
hard-hitting. Yeah.
Well, All the President's Men, great movie.
Yeah.
Shows the effects of journalism on Empire.
And Tom Holland's going to be in it for like 2 seconds. So it's just going to be about journalism. With my theory, I'm thinking maybe Eddie Brock, he starts to sympathize with Spider-Man because he hates J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Did I J. Jonah?
It's okay. You can
Honestly,
put S's
it's
wherever you
very
want.
hard.
Triple J.
Yeah. So Eddie Brock hates him, and he's Venom during this time. And I think maybe he's going to team up with Spider-Man at some point and fight against maybe an ultimate villain in this movie. And I'm thinking maybe something like, I don't know, the Sinister Six.
If it's the route where they're enemies, then maybe we can really villainize J. Jonah Jameson. And there are many stories where he's actually the whole creation of either the Sinister Six or certain villains are created by him in order to take down Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So he definitely could be the person that is the mastermind behind bringing in all these villains. We still got to get in Eddie Brock for personal reasons.
But you know what? The personal reason's already there. If you think about it, at the beginning of Venom, one of the astronauts on the Life Foundation spaceship was John Jameson.
Right.
That's his son. That is J.K. Simmons'
John Jonah
son,
Jameson.
who is dead now. And so, like, basically, the J.K. Simmons J. Jonah Jameson at the end of Far From Home is a grieving father who is probably, like, the Life Foundation covered up that whole accident.
Yeah.
He's probably like, you know what? I'm going to go into conspiracy theories to try to, like, figure out what happened to my son. And if he finds out that, like, Eddie Brock has this symbiote attachment, he's going to hate that
as
guy.
far as he knows, that's what killed his son.
Yeah, he could
Eddie
blame
Brock.
that death on Eddie Brock, whereas Eddie Brock, like, you know, he's probably like, okay, I'm Ronan Farrow versus Alex Jones. Like, I hate this guy for other reasons.
Yeah.
But then
all coming together.
Very topical.
I'm gonna give you this roguey.
That's
I was like,
roguey
can I
because
touch
she
it?
basically made you guys flesh out her theory for her. Like she just
what I
like
mean.
did
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you guys did all the work.
It was right there. Yeah, it's just like all the pieces. You know, these movies just have so much like contents and loose threads that you can usually tie some of those threads together and
there you
figure
go.
it out.
Speaking of foreseen theories, Eric.
Okay, here we go. I got it. Okay, so like Marina, my pitch is for the next Venom movie because I think they were starting to put together this Venom movie before Sony and Marvel put together their plan. So
That's true.
I think the next Venom movie is just going to be a Venom and Carnage movie. In fact, I'm going to pitch that the movie title is going to be Venom: Maximum Carnage because I think they're going to be
based on
borrowing
those.
from the Maximum Carnage comic series from 1993, which followed Carnage's latest breakout from prison, where he's able to like kind of recreate the Carnage symbiote, and he basically has these like children that he's puppeting to be other villains to wreak havoc around Manhattan, and that Shriek comes into that story. So I think that's why the fact that Shriek is going to be like his romantic interest. I think they're borrowing from
Can
that.
you
comic
drop
series.
us a quick explainer for people who don't know who Shriek is?
So Shriek is a mutant, basically, and her skill is to, she has like sonic abilities, which is why she's such a threat to Venom, because Venom's one real weakness is like sonic energy and sonic waves that, if you remember, there was that scene in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 where that's how Spider-Man's able to defeat him. He uses those poles and he hits them to create these sonic waves that destabilize the symbiote. And in the Venom movie with Tom Hardy, that is one thing that's kind of revealed, like a plane flies over his head and those sonic waves causes it to kind of freak out. So that's one way that, you know, you can destabilize the Venom
Also,
symbiote.
whales would be a big weakness
Yeah.
of his.
Yes,
Ooh.
whales.
Or,
Or really
block parties.
anything, because everything makes sound.
Yeah, or just general screaming. A lot of babies.
Yeah,
there was
babies are a big weakness.
Lot of babies.
It was kind of a weird thing. The MRI caused him to freak out, but MRIs don't use sonic waves. They used
Magnetic
electromagnetism.
resonance.
Yeah, so whatever. Science.
Science.
Science
He's
is
vulnerable to
amazing.
science
Yeah.
is the key.
Right,
All
right.
right. So we know who Shriek is. Sorry.
We know Shriek is. So I think we're going to see something like that in Venom 2, Venom Maximum Carnage. We're going to see Woody Harrelson's Cletus Cassidy fighting Tom Hardy Venom. It's going to be just kind of a further exploration of what we saw in the first Venom, where Tom Hardy is a rogue journalist and he's locked in a battle with this story subject, which is this serial killer who has broken out of, where was it? It wasn't Rikers. It was San Quentin prison.
Eric,
in San
I'm
Francisco.
worried. This is the least rogue you've ever gone.
But where it's going to go crazy is the
There's a
post-credit
whale,
scene
right?
of that film, which will set up the crossover with Spider-Man.
Okay.
Because now
in
we're
the post-credit. Okay.
yeah,
okay.
it's going to set up at this point what the second of the Tom Holland Spider-Man films will be in the MCU, which will be a massive crossover event that will bring in not just the Fantastic Four, but it's going to
Ooh.
bring in the mutants. So in
Wow.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, his college roommates are not Robert Blake,
Bobby.
but Bobby Drake. Iceman, and Firestar. Firestar is actually also part of the Maximum Carnage storyline.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to start to see how the mutants. We're at the end of Phase 4 now. We're going to
Yeah.
start to see how the mutants come into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's going to involve this massive conflict where the Cletus Cassidy and Venom are all going to be tied in with
So
the Sinister
Carnage
Six,
and Venom. Right.
Carnage and Venom. And I think the big battle, the big bad at the end of Phase 4 will be the Sinister Six.
Cool.
Maybe I lost it. What was the post-credit scene specifically?
Post-credit scene is going. Carnage's next target is going to be Peter Parker.
Oh.
That's the first hint of that side of the universe that we're going to
Gotcha.
see.
Yeah,
So then the follow-up movie is
Yeah.
having Tom Hardy's Venom has to help save Peter Parker, or what?
Yeah. Well, and just to be a bit more specific and rogue with my idea, imagine like Cletus
whale.
Cassidy after losing his battle with Eddie Brock, Venom is somehow about to murder J. Jonah Jameson because J. Jonah Jameson has somehow gotten in the middle of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
fight, maybe out of revenge for his son's death, and then he says it's not me. The person you want is this kid, and he sees Peter Parker and he's like, oh, this is Spider-Man.
Is he
he's
holding
gonna
a
be my
little
next.
photo?
Yeah,
that you
He
holding a
has it in
tiny
his
photo?
wallet.
Yeah, in a locket.
It's in a locket. And he opens the locket. This is who you want to kill.
Yes, yeah.
This is my hate locket.
Yeah.
On his on Jana J on
you
his
go.
vision
Jenna
board
Jameson.
is a
Jenna,
picture
yeah.
of this high school student. Everyone's just kind of like, that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he's a
yeah.
young man. He's under 18. So that's going to set up this next movie, and I think the true crossover will either be that second Spider-Man movie where everything's going to cross over. It's going to make Endgame look like a mere team-up movie. If
I
not
hate that voice when he gets into that voice.
it's going to set up a true Sony Spider-Man that, because Tom Holland's contract will have expired, they're going to have a Gwen Stacy or a Miles Morales that crosses over with
Love
Venom in their
it.
future that they
Yay.
can control, or Disney will just buy everything, and in Phase 5 they all get to be together because Sony doesn't own Spider-Man
Wait,
anymore.
this is all one movie?
Yes, all of
Oh
life
my
is one
God.
movie.
That's rogue. That's rogue.
Right
So
now, what's
everybody-
happening
That's
now?
very rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was put here to make people smile.
That's very, very
here.
rogue.
Here's a one rogue block for that one whole thing.
Yay.
I do have to say I like that he includes mutants in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
I want to point out really quick that I think Marina thinks whales don't exist, and the craziest thing that could ever happen is a whale.
Is
shark.
a whale. Yeah, he just
A
kept
whale
saying
showing up would
land,
be pretty crazy.
on land.
They're huge.
They're
And
big.
they're
Literally,
sea-based.
that's the thing that happens, and they covered on the news. They beach themselves.
Okay, but
Well, every time I go whale watching, you don't see them. So are they real?
That's
Are
actually
whales real? Prove me
super
wrong.
true. All right, guys, give it back to me in a tweet.
Okay, in a tweet, Venom 2: Flash Thompson is in the middle of a tug of war between Carnage and Shriek and Venom and Spider-Man. #, go Gotham.
And Shriek is spelled like Shrek.
Shriek is spelled like Shrek, yeah.
okay.
Don't get
I'm trying to think of a good name for this, but Spider-Man closer to home.
Ooh.
Venom. Eddie. Okay, wait.
That's my favorite pitch yet. For no, there's no cutting this. Spider-Man closer to home is your
Closer
pitch
to
for
home.
the third title.
That's it. No,
Homecoming, Far From Home. Closer to home.
Closer to home.
Not yet home though.
Sliding into home.
The
All one
journalists
title. Yeah.
strike back. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like multiple names onto this.
Who-
tacked
oh,
on
my
this movie.
tweet was
Let's
terrible.
just
Who
keep
cares?
doing it. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
colon after colon after colon. Okay, maybe like
Hashtag Jameson.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks, Jar Jar Martin, J.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that was a tough one to say. J. Jonah Jameson. Okay, I think
You
it's-
almost did it, but
J.
then you
Jonah
stopped.
Jameson. Okay, J. Jonah Jameson. I
Believe
got
in
it.
yourself.
Okay, you know what? I'll practice it at home next
Yeah,
time.
there we go.
I love how the tweets are supposed to make these easier to follow really quickly.
Yeah.
But
I think
hey,
that was easy. If
Hashtag
people see it, they're gonna be
JJJ.
like, "Wow, there's a lot of names in there."
Yeah.
that's all we want in
Closer
our
to
movies.
home.
Actually, that's why Endgame
It's
was
kind
a
of
success.
funny.
Closer to home is
Gotta
funny.
catch
Closer to home is my favorite part of
Yeah,
it.
you're forcing us from being writers just pitching
Okay.
open ideas to editors having to make sense of it. It's a very hard job to make it into a tweet.
Hashtag.
Oh God.
Hashtag donkey.
Yeah, donkey.
Okay. So my tweet version of it is Venom, Maximum Carnage, bleeds onto Peter Parker and his mutant friends.
Ooh, hashtag.
Somebody
Hashtag.
worked on their tweet.
No,
Someone had time to
You-
think of it.
You didn't include a hashtag, and I call baloney.
Who's baloney?
Baloney.
No, baloney.
He didn't include a hashtag.
Don't guess baloney.
Guys, I feel like of all of those, the final additional one that I'll give it to, it's still Marina's actually, because that one it was the easiest to follow. Just pretty soon, those two are going to cross over and they're going to team up, and I love it. But I'm also really excited to hear what you guys have to say about how Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman is going to come into the Batman universe.
Ooh.
But real quick, thanks to our sponsors. Do you sometimes get stressed out? Or maybe feel some anxiety, or like me, some chronic pain, or even if you have trouble sleeping once a week, guys, you're not alone. A lot of people have some of that going on. I legitimately have a lot of shoulder pain that I try to work through every single day, especially when I'm working out. And I've been using Feels. It's premium CBD that's delivered directly to your doorstep. Feels naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. I take it every single day, and it's totally replaced my dosage of ibuprofen that I was taking every day. I don't need it at all anymore because I actually can finally move my arms without feeling that pain, and legitimately it's just this CBD that's doing it. All you have to do is place a few drops of Feels under your tongue and you feel the difference within minutes. I do it as soon as I roll out of bed in the morning. It's super easy. If you're new to CBD, it's not a big deal. Feels offers a free CBD hotline and text message support to help guide your personal experience. It works super naturally to help you feel better. There's no high or hangover or addiction or anything like that. So join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel it at any time. Feels legitimately has me feeling my best every single day, and it can help you too. Become a member today by going to feels.com/rockstars, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's feals.com/rockstars to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/rockstars. Guys, news came out this week that Zoe Kravitz has been cast as specifically Selina Kyle, aka theoretically Catwoman.
Yeah,
Right.
I love
Great.
Catwoman.
Great. Good
I
casting.
love
So
Catwoman.
we've
Good
seen a lot of
casting.
Catwoman before
Yes.
in different Batman properties. It's actually one of the most represented characters actually in live action, and they've
That's good.
been so good. And also Halle Berry, and so I just want to know, even though I really like her, but this is
She's
supposed to
great.
be
We're trying
a
to
very,
forget about that.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be. She was also Storm, which was the same level of good. Guys, this is supposed to be a grounded detective movie, though.
Very
that
noir.
we haven't really seen. Yeah, they keep describing it as noir. So, what is Catwoman's character and storyline in this upcoming Batman movie? Go rogue, please.
Okay. Well, okay. Here's the roguest version of Catwoman I can think of.
Okay.
One who is not like a batshit crazy sex pot. What if she's just like an established, stable veterinarian who works a lot with cats and nursing them back to health?
Why
And then-
can't she be a sex pot?
Kitties.
Because that's
If
what
she's
we've
in-
always seen. So we're thinking on opposite
I just
day.
meant
be
a
both.
veterinarian is not the opposite of sex pot.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Actually, they're quite aligned.
Oh, what do you know?
Oh God. Never mind. I can't share this.
if I'm going to trust my pet in the hands of a veterinarian, I don't want one who's super horned up in that moment. I want one who's properly sexless.
They themselves have been spayed and neutered.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the proper veterinarian.
If you
Just
do it, you have to
passionate.
suffer it yourself.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
gang initiation.
Imagine if it is a detective story. I imagine Robert Pattinson to be a detective. It's like an episode of Law and Order. You go from location to location to location and gather evidence, and then it leads you to the truth, which is something dark, and you probably did it yourself. No, in this case, he's going to an old source, an old contact of his, which is Selina Kyle. And the reason I bring that up is she's been cast as Selina Kyle, which all the news headlines are saying Catwoman's been cast. It's just Selina Kyle. What if she's just Selina Kyle?
Just a neighborhood veterinarian.
She's never been Catwoman, or she
She used to be
Catwoman?
Catwoman.
Oh, okay.
She
just
was
like
stealing to go to vet school.
yeah, right. Yeah, that
She's
works.
just trying to pay off her student loans.
Yeah.
What I really liked about Marvel's Jessica Jones on Netflix is that she used to be a superhero.
Power.
Yeah,
And
that's
now,
right. Yeah.
and now she's just like a private eye. So imagine a Selina Kyle that's somehow in that kind of world
That's cool.
where she's just trying to move on and live her life. And Robert Pattinson, Batman, Bruce Wayne's dragging her back into the mystery and the drama, and she becomes her life gets threatened as a result of being implicated in this mystery.
I
like
really
that.
like
That's
a
great.
lot of that. I kind of that version I wish was Michelle Pfeiffer. Right? Wouldn't that be cool if like they returned to her and she's just like older and she's like, yeah, I used to be able to fit in that insane outfit. Now I'm just caring about these animals.
Yeah, maybe in this one she's not like the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman who was like resurrected via cat.
Cat lick.
I
Cat
kind of
spirits.
liked it.
I loved it. Don't get me
Okay, I
wrong,
was
but
like, I
if
like the
we're gonna start a new chapter,
Yeah,
Okay.
no
new
one's surprised that
rebooted-
you're like a
Yeah.
cat person.
Okay, all right. Okay, Philip. But she's got the cat suit under her
It's hanging up.
vet coat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So retired Catwoman is pulled back in
Yes.
by
right.
Batman.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
great.
I'm into
Okay.
it. All right.
See, I was
Angelica, what do you
thinking.
got?
Well, I was thinking a little bit more along the lines of maybe it's like right before she becomes Catwoman or something like that. But since this is so noir, I always think of Dark City. But I think she's going to show up as like a femme fatale character. I think she's going
Okay.
to just like appear in it. She's going to have some coiffed hair, like a problematic lifestyle where something's
I can't
going wrong.
picture what coiffed hair means.
It's
exactly.
like it's side
like-
parted and it's like wavy right
Is
the
it,
here.
it's
20s
the,
where
it's
and it
the
ends
noir
right here.
curl thing on
Yeah.
the
It's
side of the
not.
head.
It doesn't go all the way in a curl, but it's waved.
Gotcha.
It's
okay.
like
Yeah.
Okay.
and it's
Just
like
keep-
it's
Philip, it's
moody.
this.
Eric's hairstyle in high school.
You'll
Yeah.
know it when
Yeah.
you see it. Yeah, Eric, yeah, there we go.
Boys, get it together.
Can we bring up a picture of Eric from high school? Or
And there it is.
There it is.
Just a picture of Zac
Oh.
Efron. Great.
Yeah, yeah,
Hashtag
yeah,
That's what I looked like.
Boys, yeah.
I did not hear coiffed. I heard
I know.
queefed.
I know you heard. Yeah.
hashtag queef.
Queefed
All
head.
right.
Now, can you? What does that look like? A queen.
It's just all blown back.
Give
It's
me
like-
the queef.
It's like Marty McFly after he did the guitar strum.
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
hair was all
yeah,
blown back.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Marty!
That's not what her hair is gonna look like in this though. She's gonna look great.
We're
She's
not
gonna
allowed to
look-
use profanity, but we can describe queefing in detail.
Oh God.
Sorry,
Oh,
go ahead, go ahead.
I'll
It's just a
okay.
hairstyle. That's
Yeah, I'm
just-
excited to
Keep
see
going.
this after post. So she's going to probably be a damsel in distress, I think, and she's going to show up with some issues, and then she's probably going to, like Robert Pattinson's Batman, is going to find out that she's a little more dangerous than she seems. So that's
Is
where I
she?
see
Are
this
we
going.
still doing? Are we doing the straight up? It's a noir film. The damsel shows up at the beginning, but really, maybe is actually behind the crime itself.
Exactly. No, that's exactly it. Or maybe like some sort of peripheral part of the crime, or maybe she's causing her own havoc.
Yeah.
Without spoiling it, because I'm starting to feel more and more like this might be what they do. You might be pitching Hush, and we've in other weeks also have been talking about
yeah.
Hush, and Catwoman and Batman. Their romantic sparks start up in Hush, at least in one version of the romantic sparks. That's where it kind of comes from, and it definitely has this weird question of, is she a victim or is she partially involved? And it ends in a very, it has a little like kind of a post-credits thing, but you just never really know.
So you saying we
that's-
should hush on hush?
Ooh. And
Oh,
that's
by the way,
true Catwoman.
Get out of here, Eric.
when they say hush in the comic, it's what you say right before you kiss someone. So yeah, Eric,
Ooh.
whenever you're ready, we're all down to hush.
Okay. Wow.
I'll let you know when I'm ready.
Quite the hair
I'm
first,
saving
okay?
myself.
Yeah, so I think she's definitely going to be along those lines because Catwoman's always been that sort of gray area, chaotic, neutral. What is she going to do next? And I
Yeah.
think this is a great spot for her to like lay in this movie.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe her
She lays
costume
in
will
the
be the
cut.
gray costume from the animated series. Same.
I was thinking more
love
noir,
that
like a deep
costume.
cut with the satin and the long sleeves, but okay, sure.
I'm
yeah,
thinking
coiffed hair. Yeah,
an unwashed veterinarian's lab coat.
just
Wow.
frazzled hair.
She have to be dirty.
That
Yeah.
reminds me of like
Because she's working so hard.
All
She
right.
doesn't.
Wait,
she
not
works
an
18
unwashed
hours.
veterinarian. The
Oh,
lab
the
coat
lab
is
coat.
unwashed.
we
It's
kinda
an
saw
unclear
that.
antecedent.
Michelle Pfeiffer at the beginning of the Batman movie when she was Catwoman in it, she was the like receptionist or an assistant,
Oh,
and she
she's
had that
a-
super frazzled
she's
hair,
frazzled.
the
Oh,
the
yeah.
like sweaters and
Yeah,
stuff.
all the
yeah.
villainesses of those early era Batman movies are always frazzled. Uma Thurman was
Glasses
frazzled.
that suddenly
Right.
disappear when
Or
she
they
becomes
become
a
askew
cat.
like in one scene.
Yeah,
a
she's
little
like,
bit.
oh no,
She
yeah.
couldn't possibly be attractive.
Yeah,
Filling
wait,
everything. Yeah,
Take those
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Whoa, whoa.
true '90s fashion.
Yeah, definitely.
I like it. All of that.
Wow.
All of it, the whole thing. I like it too. Okay, so my pitch is that Selina Kyle is the daughter of a crime boss, And so back in time, the crime boss is married to her mom, right? They're together. And finally, you know what? Her mom gets sick and tired of this neglectful husband. And she takes her daughter and she gets a divorce, like the strong woman that she is. And so Selina Kyle grows up in a household with just her mom, and she doesn't find out until later because her mom wants to keep her away from this life of crime, right? She just wonders like, oh, like, gosh, I wonder who my dad was, like, da-da-da. But she eventually finds out when she's a teenager, like, oh, your dad is actually this huge crime boss, and the reason that you don't have a dad and the reason that you are isolated from the rest of your entire family is because of crime. So her mother, who is a strong, single, independent woman, leaves that man, gets a career, does her own thing, and raises her daughter to do the same. So Selina Kyle has been, she's now a geneticist. She's very smart and capable and independent. And this is where the only part where the cat thing comes in is that she,
This is where that little cat thing.
Yeah,
She once saw a cat once. Anyway.
A cat crosses her path. She meows at it.
just likes Hello Kitty. No. She's a geneticist, and she's in charge of the entire program to keep rare cats alive and breeding successfully. Like when they take one cat from this zoo into another zoo, like she's basically in charge of like keeping wild cats species diverse and present and not endangered anymore. So she's very respected in her field. And the only other kind of like, it's very like realistic, but the only other kind of superpower that she maybe has that they'll just like allude to is
Sort of.
Lots of guns.
laser vision.
Yeah.
No, it's like, you know how Princess Jasmine just like kind of has a connection with Raja?
Yeah.
Like
A
she,
little
Right.
creepy one, yeah.
yeah.
She can control cats.
She can't control cats, but like she's the big cat sense, like she just has good energy. So like if she's ever in trouble, which doesn't really happen a lot because it's a zoo situation, but like they'll just be down for her.
But you definitely are setting up a action sequence where they come to get her at the zoo,
Yeah.
and last second her version of Raja just like
Yeah.
claws the
Right.
hell
Or
out
she
of
just goes
someone.
pounce.
Ooh.
And all the tigers.
Sir
and
Pounce, the
Yeah.
cat from Game of
Game of
Thrones.
Thrones. Like,
That
they're
reminds
still
me of, like-
alive.
That reminds me a little bit of like Poison Ivy from
Yeah.
that, where she like summons the plants.
Plants.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
more like realistic and less like maybe campy than that, but like that's
Well, if it was
her
really
only-
realistic, they kill her too.
Yeah. But she has a
About
cool
that.
Or maybe she, like,
has a
runs
cool
out.
energy.
but then
She
she
has
comes
cool
back to
energy.
life. She's Catwoman.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's
they
vibing.
nibble
This
her
Michelle
fingers
Pfeiffer
and then
thing.
she comes back. Yeah, no, just kidding.
So because she's a geneticist, what
Yeah.
if she like can she like inject herself with like cat juice?
She can.
She can, but she doesn't like to do it often.
So she's actually part cat.
If she has her superpower, so I'm with you. Like this
Grounded,
is
she
pre.
said. Grounded.
I'm taking off the rails here. Okay.
Yeah.
Cat
It's
juice.
rogue theory.
calling me
Because she
rogue.
put cat juice in her, and then she got cat juice in her brain, and it makes her think like cat.
She's got big cat energy. All right.
She does.
BCE,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's part is true. She does have big cat energy. That part is true. But anyway, so they Batman and Selina Kyle run into each other because she on the side is now pissed at her crime boss dad. Right? So she's her
Can we say it's
success.
Carmine Falcone?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now I feel better.
Yeah, we can. So she's been like on the side, her night job, like messing up his crime syndicate. And they don't know who it is because she's very good. Okay. And then Batman runs into her while they're both trying to fight the same crime. And he's like, who's this? And she's like, bye. Because she has her own thing going on. She's a very independent lady.
Well, she's a geneticist saving cat kind.
Yeah,
And
she
she hasn't
does
drank the
that.
cat juice yet today. So
She needs
She
her
put it-
cat juice.
yeah, cat juice. She even put
Don't
cat
talk
juice
to
in her
me.
brain.
Don't
Don't
talk
talk
to
to
me
me.
before I've had my cat juice.
If you don't like me before I've had my cat juice, you don't deserve me when I'm a tiger.
There you go.
That's in the opening.
I like it's grounded. I could see it happening. She sprouts a tail and uses it to fight crime. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Guys, the only theory here that I think is worthy of a blog, I'm sorry, is Angelica's.
Yes. Or should I say
you guys'
meow?
other theories are worthy of all kinds of adjectives
Yeah.
being thrown at them.
Wild.
And
Oh boy.
and I think
You're welcome.
I think only yeah, it wasn't just because of the weird thing that we may have cut from this episode. But also because it's the most in line with what I, like we said with Hush, it's everything is pointing toward this like noir film.
Most
That's a good one.
And she's in there. And also, I just don't want her to be just a veterinarian. It's just like, I don't like being a Catwoman.
frazzled
I want a
woman.
happy life for Selina Kyle.
I like that too, but I really like the thing where why can't she have a happy life? You know what I mean? Like no matter what she tries, it's still
Oh, okay. I see.
No, you know what, Eric? I'm sorry, you can have half one.
Hey,
Or
I'll
a quarter
take it.
one.
The
Yeah,
tiny,
there you
tiny
go.
one.
Yeah. I do like your idea, but yours my favorite this time. But there's still ways to make up points. Remember that
Wait,
whoever
what?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
whoever gets the most rogies by the end of this gets a wish to come true.
Wait, we don't get to do
Yes.
tweets for it?
Oh, because you came up special
Yeah,
with
I
a
did.
tweet? Well, let's go ahead and build it up and say these tweets are going to be real good.
Okay.
Angelica, what's your tweet?
The tweet. Oh, yeah. Okay.
The Batman, feline femme fatale.
Ooh, that's very good.
Fat man.
Alliteration.
Feline femme fatale.
Just let me have my partial not acronym. What's it?
Alliteration.
Alliteration. Thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Do you feel better?
J. Jonah James.
Yeah, she's making
there
up
we go.
for
Filup is actually
I got it
the
out.
name.
I got it out.
Go ahead, Marina. What do
Yeah, Carmine Falcone's daughter is Selina Kyle. Also, she has Princess Jasmine powers.
Ooh, okay.
Magic
Hashtag keep tigers alive.
Ligers.
Ligers, yeah.
My Catwoman tweet is just a video from the dodo of like some animal rescue people finding a bunch of kittens under a landfill pile, and then they nurse them back to health, and then they find new homes for them.
That's
and it's
adorable.
So cute.
My wish is that Eric has to hold his face like that for
Yeah,
the rest of the
Give it a couple months, it'll be like that.
Yeah, just paste it and post. There you go. And just put over his
paste it
face
in
the whole
front of
time.
Very
Zac
cute.
Efron's body.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cute.
Eric, you earned another
Cute.
rogie with pressing
I watched that dodo video
But-
with little kitties.
with commitment. But remember, this can all go totally out the window because you can get so many rogies right now off of these rogue questions. These are questions that we haven't seen. We have no idea what they're about to be, but the answers are going to be pretty rogue. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Brie Larson revealed last week that she's never watched any YouTube videos about Captain Marvel. How offended should Eric be?
100% offended.
Maximum.
Maximum offense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like I should take the opposite end of this now. Just not offended, okay? Because it might ruin her character, being in character. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of romance ones. I bet with like Wonderwall over it, you know, and like weird. Just I can imagine it already.
I think you should be a millennial watching one of their favorite childhood stand-ups do a new comedy set. That level of offended.
like that.
Guys, no rogies on that. Zombieland Double Tap comes out this week, and in it, the heroes explore an abandoned White House. Where's the first place you're exploring after the zombie apocalypse?
Oh, I know. Shut up, Eric.
He wasn't talking.
You go to, and if anyone's read everyone's going to hate this answer, whatever. You go to the UCLA library and you board it all up so that nobody else can get in because all the knowledge in the world is kept in there and you can do whatever you want for the future. You can survive. You can learn how to build anything you want. And it's also from the book Earth Abides. Everyone hates my answer, but it's very smart.
Is there food in there
It's
though?
really smart until you run out of food.
Yeah, I was like, is there food in there?
Well, it tells you how to grow food.
I'd want to do like a tour
Out
of
of
like
books?
Yeah.
Okay,
Agriculture books.
just
you
eat
turn
the
the books
paper.
into food.
They're made of trees.
You eat trees?
Yeah, what?
Elephants.
Angelica, where'd you go?
So I'm thinking maybe like a tour of celebrity mansions.
Oh, cute.
I think that would be really fun, and then you can like raid their pantry and stuff.
Oh,
and-
cute.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Bill
it's not-
Murray's house in the first
Yeah.
Zombieland.
Yeah.
Oh, that's but like
But
a
which
tour.
celebrity? Which celebrity?
I'm thinking like the weirdest one, like you
Oh.
could possibly find, like a Charlie Sheen moment or
Oh,
something.
wow.
Yeah, you know, like
Somebody
something
with
real
some hidden
quirky.
rooms? Yeah.
Not someone that's only gonna have like expired juices in their fridge, though. You know what I'm saying?
Gwyneth?
Cat juice?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no Gwyneth
I mean,
Paltrow's
honestly, Gwyneth Paltrow's might be pretty fun to raid, though. What are we gonna find in here?
Almost a goop.
Just
a lot
cleanses.
of goop. A lot of
A lot
goop.
of goop. A lot of yogurt that you should not eat.
Yeah, really.
So I would go to Galaxy's Edge and I would go
Oh.
to Disney, which, I can go there right now, But I don't want anybody there. I don't want any of the rides to be working. I don't want any of the food to be eatable. I want it to be rat infested. I want zombies to be trying to
Yeah,
Eric.
there's going to be a
Someone
lot
help
of gross
Eric.
blue milk.
And
Someone
I have
help
to
Eric.
push the rides and grind them along the tracks myself because electricity doesn't work.
This is where Eric reveals that he would just put on all the character costumes, and that's how he would exist in the zombie apocalypse.
Will cut me saying this, but I totally expected him to say
That's an idea.
It was getting into a dark place.
Yeah.
Like I could see you're in the Mind Palace, and
It's
then
the
you went
happiest
to a
place
really
on
dark
earth.
room in there.
Eric, I'm giving you a
You just
Rogie
wear the
on this one
costumes.
because
He's
I'm
eating
worried
food
about
in
you.
his place.
I'm worried about you. Also,
you're worried about him?
Angelica, I'm giving you one because
like a pity
it was
one.
good enough for a movie.
Yeah,
And then,
but it's a tour.
and then I don't believe
was
you
good.
that you could eat the books.
All right, fine.
So I'm not going
Yeah.
to.
You
could make a fire.
But it all be figured out right here in this
Okay.
last rogue question, guys. Chris Hemsworth said this week that he wants to remake the film The Three Amigos with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. What?
He's okay. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Not a question yet.
I already have an opinion.
What's your
Yeah.
answer?
The three white guys. Guys,
That's my answer. Yeah.
What other 80s movie do you want to see them team up for instead?
I want to see Weird Science where Downey plays the same character he played.
I think you said where Downey plays the sexy model that they make, or the sex creature.
That's Groot.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking Ghostbusters right now. I'm having.
Oh, that's great.
'cause that's
Chris
what my-
Hemsworth was in the a long forgotten Ghostbusters.
It's about time for an all-male Ghostbusters. I think.
There we go. I think it
Yeah,
hasn't been
let's
done
get
before,
that.
right? Wow.
What about Monster Squad? It's
Ooh.
Halloween
Oh,
times.
yeah.
Fantastic. Great answer, and a third Rogie goes to Marina for that answer.
Monster
Can we
Squad's great.
sum up our totals?
I have 3.25. What is that?
You sure?
Yeah, 3.25.
I have 3.
3.
I have 3.26 because of how I measure it. we
Nice
tied it, eh?
structure.
Dang it!
Here's what we'll do. You guys both win. You guys tied. So we'll do both of your wishes.
Yay!
All right.
Oh.
Angelica's yours will be shredded immediately.
Oh no!
Mine was funny. It was.
Eric's wish is that everyone, including Eric, he punishes
I
himself
want to do it
immediately.
too.
That just means something he's good
Oh,
at
okay.
usually.
Alright.
Must talk like Shrek for the rest of the episode. Donkey Marina's wish. New Rockstars has to tweet that she was right about the end of El
Camino. My
El
prediction
Camino.
was
El
right.
Camino, donkey.
Without spoiling, just that she was right.
We won't include any spoilers, but my prediction was right.
Oh,
At the
I
end
like
of the
your
last
accent.
episode, I was right.
Angelica.
My picture's up there to prove it.
That's right. Marina's theories are like onions.
You,
They
they have
stink.
layers. Oh,
Okay, hey now, you're rock stars for watching this show.
So
Thanks.
much gravel in Philip's
Hey
woods.
now.
Swear to Philip.
That's all for Rogue Theory, brother. Thanks for going rogue with us. Thank you to our guests, Angelica, Trae,
yay!
Marina,
Yay,
Mastros, and
Erik Voss.
donkey.
Fiona.
Farquaad.
Don't forget to subscribe to Rogue Theory podcast.
New Rockstars.
Marina's got the best one.
You can say the rest of it if you want.
Okay, yeah, we're. Don't forget to subscribe to Rogue Theory podcast feed and stay tuned to YouTube channel for this and other shows. Follow us on Twitter at New Rockstars. Follow me at Filup Molina.
Filup.
Filup.
Not Shrek, but someone interesting.
Yeah,
It's
good
just Ewan
Scottish.
McGregor from Trainspotting.
All right. Go about your days.
As Shrek famously says, go about your days.
Get out of my swamp.
It's time for me to die.